Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Ralph Michaels and Bryan Leonard. We're going to talk about baseball bullpens and really maybe the lack of them this year, because I have not seen pitching as bad as we have seen this year in bullpens that usually are solid, just blowing up, and how that affects maybe looking at, first 5 innings. Now, we've always talked about, well, if you want to take the bullpens out of the equation, put the first 5 inning wagers in there. But this year, some solid bullpens in the past have not been getting the job done. Even the Indians, who last year lived off of the bullpen. I mean, from the middle relievers all the way down to the closers, they weren't giving up any runs, and that's not the case this year with the Indians. And there's several teams like that. Ralph, you put up a chart in an article at Wager Talk, tremendous, and it's hard to find this information on the first 5 innings because most of the advanced stat places, they haven't started including that yet, which it's becoming more and more of a betting tool. And so you took the initiative to do this, and tell us about what you did and some of the things that you found.
Well, basically, we're going to do a weekly chart now. It'll be up every Wednesday. We'll post it Wednesday by noon Pacific, and it'll just be, I'll break down the last 10 games, 20 games, and full season for the first 5 innings. Now, while we don't have the dollar amounts, we'll list the full season dollar amounts, so they're pretty close to that. At least they're a portion of it. But some interesting things that we found. I mean, I'm going to just mention the top and the bottoms, and please do check it out because we break down overall, then home and away. But the Tampa Bay Rays are 20 and 22 on the season. These numbers were through May 17th, so they didn't include the Wednesday night games. Tampa Bay, a losing record on the year, 20 and 22. But if you bet them the first 5 innings, they are 26 and 11, plus 15 net units, and they had 5 ties in that. I mean, if there's any game now you think you want to back the Rays, obviously the first half is the way to go. Looking at the opposite of the chart, the Toronto Blue Jays, 17 and 23 on the year, that's minus 6 wins, but you bet them the first 5 innings, they were actually 10 and 24, minus 14 net games in those first 5 innings. So again, we'll break down last 10 games, last 20 games, and the season to see if the trends continue. One thing our viewers can keep an eye on, 2 matchups this week with good first 5 innings and bad first 5 innings. The LA Dodgers at home are plus 7 net wins. Miami on the road minus 6. So that would lean with the Dodgers the first 5 innings. Obviously, the Dodgers the better team and at home. But Toronto on the road is minus 10 net wins. That means Toronto is 4 and 14 on the road the first 5 innings. Baltimore at home is plus 4. So that's one that the lines aren't going to be outrageous, but that would clearly say to play Baltimore first 5 innings against Toronto. So those series are both this weekend. We'll just keep our eyes on it, see what happens, and we'll go from there.
Brian, Baltimore is a team that last year, the bullpen with Britton and everything, you had a solid closer. Obviously, injuries affected a team like Baltimore. And so with Ralph doing a chart like this and then moving forward, having it for, the last X number of games is rather than just a full season, it creates a situation where you can justify if you see a change because of an injury. A perfect example this week, earlier in the week, I like the matchup of the starting pitchers with the Mets in Arizona. But the Mets got some injuries in the bullpen, and the bullpen wasn't that great to start with, and then you throw some injuries in there. I changed that play to a first 5 inning wager. I got a 1-0 win through 5. They went on to get drilled in the later innings as the bullpen blew up again. Any things that for something like this, how are you going to use this?
Yeah, I do this a little bit more for live betting. And I break down some other things too, the same source as you do, Killer Sports and sportsdatabase.com. I've got a breakdown of how teams do the first 3 innings of the game, middle 3 innings of the game, last 3 innings of the game. You mentioned certain teams have strong, Texas has done very well in the beginning, struggled as some of the others. A lot of the teams struggle in the middle innings because the pitchers are going back for the second, third time through the order. So I break down the list. There's only 5 teams in the league this year that have outscored the opposition in the first 3, second 3, and third 3 on the season. And that's Houston, Arizona, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, the LA Dodgers, Washington, and the Yankees. So those are your best teams in Major League Baseball right now. And going for the first 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. And then I go back, and you had mentioned Cleveland with their bullpen. I went back and looked how teams do the last 3 innings. They're the best 3 teams in Major League Baseball, as you would expect, the Yankees, the Indians, and the Astros. 3 terrific bullpens. Scoring in the last 3 innings of the game, the Yankees were up .84 runs per game, the Indians .72 runs, and the Astros .61. So if you're going against any of those teams, you've got to realize at the end of that game, they've got a huge advantage. Those are teams, if you're playing the Yankees, Indians, and Astros, you want to play against them early.
Right. And you want to play them, if you're playing them for the game, you want to play the full game with them because they've got the better back.
If you are playing on those teams, you want
Right.
the full game. If you want to play against those teams, you go first 5 innings.
And one thing that me and you have had many discussions on the first 5 innings, and you always point out, but you generally are paying a little bit of a tariff for playing the first 5 innings, and sometimes you don't think the extra is warranted with it. We got to get our math nerds together, because with the one thing that you do have with a first 5 inning wager is there are 3 outcomes, not 2. There's a win, there's a loss, but you can also have a tie with the first 5 innings, which on a full game you don't. So how much of, what is a tie worth in as far as if you were laying extra juice?
The way I just break it down is the ones they win, the ones they lose, and throw it. I sort of like the hockey. You just throw it out, but the wins against the losses are what I'm looking for. And, you mentioned Toronto. I wouldn't surprise me if that changes, because Toronto came into the season, a lot of people really like their starting rotation. They've had a lot of injuries. And once J.A. Happ had the breakout year last year, he hasn't been around for a long time. Once Toronto gets these other pitchers in there, will be interesting to see if that changes.
All right, good stuff. And again, Ralph, tremendous work on the stuff that you create. And the thing is, you come to Wager Talk, you get this kind of stuff for free. This is stuff that people would pay for. We're giving it away for free. Valuable information and work and detail of digging in. And this was a simple situation. I called Ralph yesterday. I said, listen, I got this thought in my head. What can you do?
It had nothing to do with food.
Amazingly enough, It was, and you got this and you banged this out in a day, and kudos to you, and a special thanks to our friends, Ed and Joe Meyer
And
with
again,
their database.
if any viewers have something they want, we can't promise we can do it. Send it to support at Wager Talk. Idea for any type of information they'd like to see. If we can do it, we'll help you out. If not, we'll let you know as well. But a lot of great ideas come from our viewers as well.
All right, good stuff, guys. And don't forget, each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk, it's $2 Tuesday. If you jumped on board this week, you got a nice 1-2 punch. Both plays won. Every Tuesday, we have the $2 capper. We feature one capper and give away his best bet for $2. But we also have a bonus offer every Tuesday where we give you 60% off a second capper. And this week, both the $2 and the crossover bonus play came home easy winners. Check it out each and every Tuesday. It's a great way to introduce yourself to Wager Talk or to a new capper. That's $2 Tuesday at wagertalk.com. That's it for this week, guys. We'll be back next week. As always, thanks for taking the time to view the videos, and good luck this weekend.